Sophisticated, stylish and a leader in finance and education, a city that stands out for its architecture, London is a melting pot of people and world cultures. Standing on the River Thames, the capital of England is home to over 8 million people, a number projected to rise up to 11 million in the next 10 to 15 years. Not surprisingly, the city's popularity is reflected in its frenzied property market. In 2013, there were more than 68,000 residential property transactions in London, almost double the number in 2009. And last year saw the real estate market in London getting even stronger, with total property sales doubling from over £30,000 million in 2012 to 2014. This has also fueled an increase in prices. For instance, a residential property in Kensington in Chelsea now costs an average of £1.28 million compared to £195,000 in 1995.
Everything has grown over the last couple of years by 10 to 20%. London is still the most desirable real estate market in the world. It attracts a capital from all over the world. Over the last few years, we have seen with the increased and unprecedented weight of capital and new sources of capital coming from the likes of India, the likes of China and Taiwan.
London prices have increased quite significantly over the recent past since the downturn. Certainly London has represented a safe haven for many, as well as a real opportunity based on its own sound virtues as a de facto capital city for the world.
Last year, 44% of London property purchasers were overseas buyers, and the first quarter of 2015 saw that number go up to 53%. A report by real estate consultancy CBRE found that Indian investment accounted for 55% of overseas investment in the second quarter of 2014, in contrast to 2013, where no land was purchased by Indian investors.
We are seeing the globalization of real estate. India stands probably at the top in the high-end residential and hotel development market at the moment.
Historically, London has always had a strong cultural connection with Indians, whether it's the ancient heritage, a common love for cricket, the countryside, or classical English literature. And just as India juxtaposes the ancient with the modern, for every Stonehenge, there's a modern counterpart like the Shard in London. The city has inspired many Bollywood filmmakers, whether it's Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, or the more recent Tanu Weds Manu returns. Bollywood's love affair with London is well known.
It's one of the great cities of the world, and given its long cultural connections with the Indian community and the country of India, I think there's lots of reason to think that the business flows between the UK and India, if anything, can increase further, and real estate's a great conduit for that.
People who were looking to buy, who were hedging against the risk of Indian real estate or the devaluation of the Indian rupee, and it was more as a financial instrument that they were utilizing it. Second was that there were a number of couples who were buying it as holiday homes, in Singapore or in the UK. Some were even interested in getting into New York, although it was not as much.
Yes, London and New York top the list of overseas destinations for Indians looking to buy properties abroad. When these are out of reach, Dubai, Singapore and Malaysia are amongst the most preferred among the global property investment destinations.
It is a very transparent market, it is a very liquid market, and I think a lot of people from around the world have great familiarity with London. London's safe haven status really does appeal to a lot of international investors.
A lot of the parents, their kids were getting ready for higher education and were going to go overseas, and they were wanting to buy properties or residential accommodations in the place where the kids were going to study, so that either the parents could go and live there for a long duration or the kids could stay in those houses.
Apart from high net worth individuals, Indian developers are also flocking the London property market. The Lodha Group bought the New Court for £90 million and Grosvenor Square for £306 million. Last year, the Hinduja Group acquired the UK's iconic Old War Office for £300 million. Indiabulls Real Estate purchased Hanover Square for £155 million. And more recently, the Lulu Group snapped up London's Great Scotland Yard for £110 million.
I think what we're really seeing as a trend is really sort of trophy assets with a lot of character and architectural benefits to these buildings that can be repositioned into either high-end residential or hotel schemes.
Large Indian developers that feel they can bring a new skill into the market. On the heels of this, we'll see more and more of the large developers taking a serious look at development sites, which will have opportunities for residential, commercial, and hotel. As Lota in particular have stated that, Lota developers, that going forward they see London as a very core market for them over and above Mumbai.
Well, India boasts more than 700,000 millionaires whose combined fortune accounts to nearly $1 trillion, and there are a few favorite residential spots within that are drawing many wealthy Indian buyers.
If they're coming to buy individual flats, then of course they're going to be looking in the areas like Belgravia, Knightsbridge, Mayfair and St John's Wood, as you say. I think really the general trend is they are looking in the core prime locations of the West End of London.
But the question remains, with so many new entrants in the market and property prices reaching its peak, is there a possibility of a bubble in the London real estate market?
Going forward, our expectations are that price growth will soften from that very strong rate of growth, but still maintaining a very strong circa 8% over the next couple of years and tailing back modestly from that point.
You know, there is the possibility that there could be a rate rise by the Bank of England towards the end of 2015 and throughout 2016. So I think if interest rates rise and we see lending become more competitive and a bit more irrational, then there should be some caution towards potentially there being a bubble in the London market.
With a new causeway opening in London in 2017 and with the influx of wealthy property investors, it's still perhaps a safe bet to invest in properties there.
It's an excellent investment choice for some people, but not for all people. And I would advise anyone that if they're willing to put a bit of time into it, a bit of their own research into it, they can get a great result. But the main thing I think is to take a long view in terms of what you're putting your money into in particular, and also to make sure that you've thought through some of the downstream implications. We will see that continuing as a trend in terms of Indian investment too.